afternoon, Cumberland County. We are calling to order the finance meeting for September 24th. If we could have a roll call vote, please, Desiree.
Commissioner Niederer.
Sorry. I know there's feedback. Hang on. Okay, well, muted. Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Commissioner Fashi.
Oh, well, Commissioner Niederer had a planned absence. We knew that she would not be here. I'm here. Thank you.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
I am present.
Okay, so we've now moved to the public comment section of the meeting. Is there anyone in the room that would have public comment? Seeing none, do we have anyone online that would have public comment?
No requests at this time.
Okay, thank you. So we will move to approving the minutes of September 17th, 2025. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move for approval.
I second, moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. And now we are here with Connections Crisis Walk-in Center. They're here to do their quarterly update. We have Brittany McCarthy. We have Kimberly Jones with us. So have at it, ladies. Thank you.
Oops. My cancel. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
It's been one of those mornings.
Sounds like there we go.
Technology
And we're all on. You guys are good.
Commissioner.
Hello, how are
Hi,
you?
Commissioner online. Thank you for having us. We are going to provide our quarterly update. I'm Brittany McCarthy. I'm the strategic account manager and here with
Kimberly Jones, I'm the VP of Clinical Ops.
we've got that down at this point.
I guess that's what you do.
Okay, so just a reminder of our service lines and the regional project that has come to life through the partnership between Cumberland, Perry, and Dauphin counties. We are the emergency behavioral health crisis walk-in center, and we offer a few different service lines, one being mobile crisis response within the 3-county region, walk-in urgent care, and crisis stabilization through our 23-hour observation unit. Here is our Cumberland County specific data. We have updated this data through inception through August 31st. So I think the last time we were here, we reported around 600-ish individuals served in Cumberland County, and we are now up to more than 1,300 individuals that have been served in Cumberland County at our center through either the walk-in center urgent care observation unit or our mobile team.
What was the start date on that?
December 4th.
For mobile, December 11th for adult services at the clinic, and January 13th for youth services.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our mobile crisis average response time specific to Cumberland County is 19 minutes, of course, from inception to August. We are at a 5-minute drop-off time at our back door. So within and truly under 5 minutes, I think at this point, our team is very efficient and works really well with law enforcement who's utilizing that backdoor entrance. We have accepted 100% of individuals who have presented to the center outside of our medical exclusionary criteria. We also have a 38-minute door-to-dock time frame for our youth urgent care and 44 minutes door-to-dock for our adult urgent care specific to Cumberland County residents. And then our observation unit average length of stay is 15 hours. You can see to the right, we have our law enforcement referrals. This is not specific to backdoor drop-offs, but all referrals and interactions with law enforcement in Cumberland County aside from Capitol Police at the very bottom there. Under the other not listed is a combination of probation, parole, the jail, any referrals we would have with first responders or law enforcement that way. Any questions on that, Commissioners? Okay. Okay, and then we want to update on our stakeholder partnerships and some of the things that we've put in place or have planned even since the last time that we presented to you all. So we are looking at increasing awareness around our youth services and increasing our youth census for that population that may need our services. Our team launched a youth marketing campaign as of September 12th. We also had a meeting with Megan Johnston from the Cumberland Perry MHIDD office, and we worked together over the course of an hour to brainstorm different ways in which we can consistently meet to have conversations with local providers or CYS agencies. We've done a lot of essentially one-off presentations where we've done staff meetings, but her and I discussed the true need for maybe more consistent conversation. So what we are going to put into place starting in October is we will be launching a monthly Connections Youth Roundtable. So we will schedule an hour to start for anyone, anywhere to log in, to ask questions about Connections, to hear about our services, to share any barriers, concerns, and it really just be an open format for us to interact with the youth providers and different individuals who focus on youth within the counties. The other thing we'll be doing is partnering with Annie and her team to provide face-to-face training for our case managers over, over the course of the last quarter of 2025. So for October, November, and December, Annie and someone from her office, from the MHIDD office, will be coming to our case manager monthly meetings to do a presentation on Cumberland Perry specific resources to make sure that our team understands the importance and of making the referrals to the county of residence for the patients that we're seeing, but also so that we can learn if there are any resources that we aren't utilizing to the full potential. They can have that conversation with the county team. So those are the things that we have focused on youth, and then also the meeting with our case managers does also focus on adult. Our law enforcement relationships things are going really well with law enforcement. We are now have been invited to participate in the county CIT training. So we were actually with Cumberland County yesterday and the team presenting to the officers for CIT. We also have completed one CIT training for dispatchers, and we've been presenting there. And I think there's another one coming up in January. So we feel really grateful to have been invited to participate and be able to present during the crisis intervention portion of that training.
Those are twice a year, right, Annie?
The 40 hours, the 40 hours is
40 hours.
twice a year, and our 911 centers are requesting more trainings.
Okay,
It's
great.
like 40.
And you'll be part of all those on an ongoing basis, I assume.
Yes.
Awesome. And then we also send the crisis activity report to our law enforcement officers, and that is a visual that shows how many referrals they have made, essentially focusing on the backdoor law enforcement entrance. What we have heard from law enforcement recently, we spoke with Upper Allen Police Department, we've talked with Harrisburg City, and we received some feedback on that report. And so how we're looking to expand that report is to capture interactions with our mobile team. So there are some departments, especially further in Cumberland County, that may not be utilizing our backdoor as often, but they are significantly using our mobile team. So
May I ask you a question then, because I
Yeah.
mean, I have a series of questions and I'm one of those people that really likes to hear the whole presentation, because oftentimes you'll answer my question.
yeah, it's okay, yeah.
So this page that says law enforcement referrals,
Mhm,
this is from inception,
mhm,
okay, 12 of 2024,
okay,
okay. That's what I've gleaned from this.
okay,
And then the total law enforcement referrals And I took that down to 270 days is 191. Is that just backdoor referrals?
So that is specific to,
Them being.
that's Cumberland County only.
Okay.
Okay, so there is, except for Capitol Police at the bottom, I have to pull that out,
Yeah,
sorry,
the Capitol Police are
yes,
there.
but that is specific to Cumberland County, so that's not the full list of backdoor drop-offs, so,
Okay, that's good for me to know.
Yes.
There's also a double Z here or an other not listed of
Correct.
32.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm asking this question.
Yeah.
This number seems incredibly low to me.
okay,
And as I looked through all of these materials, I'm wondering,
yes.
there seems there, I mean,
Sure.
we need to be doing something to get more people to.
Sure.
connections.
So I think that's a fair observation as far as the number, because we do have Cumberland County departments who are utilizing our mobile team more than they are utilizing the
The
back door at the center. So there are not as many Cumberland County departments traveling to utilize the back door, but they are using our mobile team. So that's what the law enforcement officers were saying, like, we don't feel like this is a full picture of us utilizing connections, because it does not capture during that crisis activity report their
Use of mobile.
use of mobile. So we want to expand that crisis activity report to show mobile interactions with law enforcement and referrals to the center.
Let me ask you this question, because I had this, you were very cool and you gave us all of these
Mhm.
beautiful spreadsheets ahead of time. And I'm looking at the one on volume data.
Mhm.
This says mobile crisis adults, all counties, as of August 25th, 127. Is this a total number? Is this like,
No, so each
Okay.
month is its
It's-
own number,
okay.
so you would add that up each month, yes.
so mobile crisis, every county you serve,
Mhm.
127. So I could add my 127 to my Cumberland County only 191 that includes Capitol Police. No,
No,
I'm having a hard time
Yeah,
really
okay.
figuring out how many people are coming into connections.
so I think when we're talking about the monthly report, the numbers that we get for our decks come from the monthly report, but each month of those numbers that you see, you would need to add all of the volume data for mobile, all for youth and adult, and then all of the volume data for urgent care and observation. Like, all of those numbers are singular to the month. They are not added each month, cumulative,
So-
sorry.
That's good for me to know.
Okay,
So when I look at this, and I know you don't have it in front of you, and now I'm
We
asking.
did, yeah.
yes.
So maybe when we're done, you can show me this, because
Mhm.
I really cannot tell how many people are coming into connections.
Okay.
And it's,
Sure.
yeah.
We can go through the monthly report with you at any
And
time
I'm
too.
not sure that this is telling me, based upon the things that you've said, that it's even represented within the data here.
For the month of August, the Excel spreadsheet that we sent also had tabs at the bottom, so you could click and get Cumberland County specific data. For the month of August, there were 36 people.
I have that here
36 people seeing through the mobile crisis.
through mobile crisis. But
For youth or adult, Annie, I'm so sorry.
Total.
I did not know we would be going through our monthly report today, so I
Correct.
don't have it in front of me to be able to go through the different boxes. So,
okay, so I will say that moving forward, I would
Yeah,
appreciate doing
yep,
that. Because
absolutely.
mobile crisis, yeah, it says 36 for August, but then we've got urgent care adult of 63. Which
Correct.
means 63 adults had to have walked into that
Correct.
building. Okay, I still wonder, where are the rest, where is everyone?
Well,
So, yes, so that's a great question.
Yeah.
And I think we are also looking at ways that we can educate individuals who are still presenting to the ED, because conversations that we have with County Crisis and with Annie and her team, there's still a significant amount of individuals who are being evaluated by County Crisis at the hospital. So we believe that there's an opportunity to educate those individuals, whether that be through additional collateral that we can create, materials, whatever that look like, that every individual who connects with County Crisis in the hospitals is then educated and redirected essentially on where that next visit can take place. There is still a significant amount of individuals presenting to the hospitals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know why?
I think it's what has been the norm. And you are changing a community culture that has been very like Holy Spirit, like Brittany, I'm not from here, but Brittany gives an example of growing up here, like anybody experiencing a mental health need was directed to Holy Spirit. So we have to retrain the community in why Connections can provide services at minute one and you're not boarding in an ED. And we do need support from our EDs to really educate the community and the county as well, like educating that Connection let's route those patients to get care at minute one. Because we've gone to a scene, as a matter of fact, as recent as this week, and the patient we were going to transport back to Connections for a higher level of care, like some observation needed. And patient said, no, I want to go to Holy Spirit. So, and we're not going to be like, oh, no, like, so.
Well, no.
Absolutely not. So I do think there is a missing piece for when we came into this market of that piece has not been, I feel like we could get stronger in educating our hospital partners to really truly understand the benefit of what Connections brings to the community as a whole. And that piece is missing.
Yeah, I do also think we have to take into consideration EMS transports. So there is a barrier in Pennsylvania. We know the EMS language does not allow for drop-offs and payment at an alternative location than a hospital. So our government relations, government affairs, Chris Santisero, he's working, and we are working with the Ambulance Association of Pennsylvania and Dr. Bledsoe with Life Team and the state medical director to really look at how can we advocate for the change of this language, because a significant amount of individuals are being transported to the hospital by EMS, and an alternative location like Connections would be an appropriate drop off for them if they could receive payment and the language allowed. So I think that's a barrier and a consideration. In addition to our law enforcement partners, some departments are short-staffed. They sometimes can't make that additional, depending on, those further departments, that 40-minute drive that takes them out of their town. And so those are some of the considerations and the barriers, but I think a really good place to start and we believe is within the emergency departments with the patients that are presenting with behavioral health issues and taking that time to educate them and say, if you have this concern, again, this is the most appropriate location for you where you'll receive specialized behavioral health care.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure.
Changing the attitude to the community, that's a long term.
It is,
Yes.
yeah.
To do that. 'Cause a lot of people just have always identified Holy Spirit as the
Yes.
place to go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
That's not gonna be fixed overnight.
Sure.
There was a lot of time spent on the front side, developing processes with all of the emergency departments. But I agree with what Brittany was saying. What you're saying, Gary, is this isn't a one-time meeting. It needs to be consistent. And that way then it's constantly in their minds how to redirect folks. Our crisis staff do direct people to Connections, but I think what Kimberly has shared is true. There are people that say, I want to go to Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So working closely with Andy and her and as the MHID director, right? Like being able to help educate that crisis program and Penn State and we can do it too, but we do need the county's assistance in kind of retraining the community in a way. I think that would be helpful.
We do have our monthly meetings with our hospital partners. I will say our relationships with our local hospitals are positive. They're going well. They do understand, the services that we bring to community, and our communication is great. Our inpatient hospital partnerships, I would say, are also positive. Transitions are smooth. Referrals are going well. There is, we've been in the community now for 10 months. We are starting to see some opportunities for improvement with our inpatient partners, from denials of familiar faces or barriers where we're seeing a lot of denials to accept a higher level of care for acuity. And we see the most acute highest acuity patients in the community, and we have a difficult time placing them at a higher level of care. And so we are looking at maybe, we've had conversations with our county partners, and Annie and Andrea, and we'll have that as now a consistent item on our Friday meeting agendas, because we want to make sure that people are receiving the most appropriate level of care, and seeing denials for acuity is difficult. It's serving as a barrier to placing some of those very acute patients.
Could you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is a public meeting.
Yeah.
And people will be able to look at this. Could you like let everyone know what acuity means, please?
So acuity is, can be based on many factors. How the patient is struggling, so behaviorally, what their behaviors might look like, or they could be an acute psychosis, which leads to behaviors that are out of that patient's control, or they've had a really hard run-in before our drop-off with law enforcement, and so they're coming in not in their right frame of mind or agitated, so agitation, aggression, all of the above. I always say that acuity isn't based on the number of patients, it's based on the behaviors of how that patient's presenting. And so we really have a pulse check. I mean, it can differ every hour of the day. It ebbs and flows, our acuity. We can have 9 people on the unit and low acuity, or we can have 2 patients that are taking everybody's bandwidth, right? And with mental health patients, we're dealing in a realm of a gray area, unpredictability, impulsive behaviors, and we do our best in real time to mitigate that with interventions, groups, therapy, and medications as needed when they're voluntary and they want to take something to kind of bring down that anxiety. But it looks different every day. This morning was pretty acute. But we kind of gauge that throughout the day periodically to kind of see where we're at. Do we need to bring in more staffing? Do we not? Are we able to move patients through the continuum? Or are we able to stabilize? And 90% of the time we're able to maybe 70% of the time we're able to stabilize. But we are also not an inpatient unit. So when we're needing to send somebody on that's not stable enough to go back to the community, right? Because we're always trying for least restrictive. However, when you're a no wrong door, that means you don't know what's walking through any of the doors, right? So when we send packets out with all of their detail, their psych eval and all of this, and we hear back from our inpatient facilities that the patient is too acute, there's not another option. That throughput can be a barrier based on somebody's behaviors within the time we had them, or just a known history of them acting out previously in their facilities. So
Thank you. No, that was very helpful.
Okay.
It was long, but it was
Sorry.
helpful. No, it was criticizing. Don't apologize. No, it was helpful to get the level of detail.
Yeah, and if you're ever driving by, stop on by.
Let me,
Yeah.
just for, in terms of abbreviation,
Yes.
I wrote it down as type and degree of distress experienced.
Yes.
So add or subtract from that as you see fit.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
good. That's great.
Much shorter.
I think the other factor that
appreciate
our
it.
inpatient units look at too is they look at their current milieu, the people they're
Okay.
serving on the inpatient unit, and then they're looking at the acuity of someone coming from connections who, if they're experiencing some aggression, volatility, then there's a level of concern of what happens if I bring this person into the people who are already here receiving treatment. Might that make it more difficult for everyone?
Yeah.
So you're looking at it collectively as well as individually.
Yeah. Yeah,
Thanks.
it's
Yeah,
never a dull
absolutely.
moment.
I'm sure there's some.
Never.
So when you say, like, if you're driving by, come in, can we just do that?
Absolutely.
You can, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
you can, yeah.
Come
You
on
can
out.
come on in, and I mean, I'm there 5 days a week, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays, it just depends on the need of the facility. But I'll give you a tour, I mean, I know you've been there, but like, now that we're up and running and we're seeing patients consistently on both units,
Mhm.
you are more than welcome to join and stop by.
Thanks.
Absolutely, please do,
I'll call you and make sure.
Perfect.
Okay. Thanks. I appreciate that.
absolutely.
The last slide it's just the patient satisfaction. There are recent reviews that we
Yeah, they just came
have
through.
seen from patients that gave us 5 stars on their treatment. So just wanted to share that with you as well. What other questions do you have for us?
Are there things happening in the community or when you are maybe getting a call or a referral that are things that you are hesitant to take?
Mobile calls?
Yeah, sure, that's.
Sure. So yes, and we will take the call with additional parameters. So there are calls that will come through if our mobile team, so we want to talk about, I think first, the difference in our mobile team and a co-responder, right?
Okay.
So co-responders ride along with law enforcement. They're responding to high-risk calls right next to law enforcement. Our team does not wear vests. They don't look like law enforcement, right? They are a clinician, a person with lived experience. And so we're responding to the individual in crisis in the community. If we receive a call, whether that be through county crisis or dispatch, where there are weapons, where there is no consent, and it is more of a welfare check, we would want to partner with law enforcement. So while we may not take that call, just our team, we would take the call with law enforcement partnership, right? We try not to deny calls as they come in, but we also need to have a level of safety for our team and the patient. You know, we don't, we've seen a lot of things in the news, right? When the different warrants are being served, or you're surprising someone, and we are not at the point where we would be doing welfare checks and surprising individuals who you know, we've had a couple calls where like parents have not talked to their child in a couple days and they want us to go to their house. Essentially, if that patient is experiencing a mental health crisis and we are surprising them, you know, there may be some safety concerns. So those are the types of things that our team will evaluate when receiving the call, the dispatch. And if our team feels like there is a safety risk, we will ask for law enforcement assistance to essentially clear the scene for safety, and then they could leave and we could remain on scene with the patient.
How's that going?
I think it's going well.
I mean,
Yeah.
So law enforcement is available to go out with you?
Yeah, if they are available, they will come. Our mobile team has had fantastic interactions with Cumberland County law enforcement. We have received great feedback from.
Too. We just presented to officers yesterday. Everybody in the room, I think 90% of the officers have either used this facility or used mobile. And that's one of the officers approached and said, please add the mobile data to your biweekly report because we use you guys more than we go to the center. So
I think it's going well with the safety parameters that our team has in place. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
What can we do to help you? Besides work on our relationships with our EDs.
Yeah.
And working with the community on, right?
So I think that one area where we could see an increase in utilization is the back door. So ways that we can work with our law enforcement partners. I'm hoping to start scheduling here for 2026 and quarter 4 of 2025 to revisit all of the departments and do another round of briefings. So we are open and available to attend briefings, to talk with the officers, you know, during that smaller meeting, answer any questions, take concerns, hear barriers, all of those types of things. But I think there is an opportunity for law enforcement transports to be less at the hospital and increase our backdoor utilization.
I think the other piece to that would probably see an increase quick, that's not the right word, but is, you know, really encouraging, and maybe that can come from the county of when they are transporting a 302, that the directive is they take them to connections. I think that right there, the involuntary treatment coming to us, because there's also conversation about maybe not having to do the bed exhaustion. Remember, we brought it up last Friday. So like, and really to see that process through with connections to really help with the continuity of care for that patient that's experiencing this involuntary process. But if police show up to serve a 302, the directive, my ask would be, can we move towards then connections is the place that those go. And then, I mean, I do think that would be a huge.
It would be a good first step, focusing on a specific population, like dialing in on the involuntary population that we currently already serve. You know, law enforcement has brought them to us, but I think that would certainly decrease also those individuals being transported to the hospital, which would relieve some pressure from our hospital partners as well.
I'm very thoughtful about that.
Yeah.
If a patient says, but I don't want to go to connections, I want to go, then they go to where they want to go.
Yeah, we believe in patient choice always, so.
Well,
yeah.
right, and I think there will come, but I do think we haven't been in the community a year. Like, I think over time, right, I haven't been here almost a year, but like, it's definitely going to take time to educate, because what we do what we've always known, we have a comfortability. Whether we get good service or not, we know that that's where I'm going. And so I think it's about just changing the narrative.
So help me out with something, because I don't do this for a living, right? I don't do what you do for a living, but I'm thinking about the process and how the process would work. And you talked about high acuity, right? If you have high acuity, then it's very hard to get that patient moved to somewhere else. So if you have a person under a 302 come in, how do you get them moved somewhere else?
So we send, once they're seen and it's upheld and all of the things are done, then we send out packets to over 18 different inpatient facilities.
We start with local.
Well, we start with local, sorry.
Okay.
We start with local, we document the denial, and then we move further out. And we really haven't had major throughput problems outside of those familiar faces.
Okay.
That has kind of been,
Yeah, so the concern of the familiar faces or some of the highly acute, those are the individuals that we may not be able to move to next. Unfortunately, you know, we then transfer them, we have a system to transfer them to the hospital.
Right.
But a couple things take place at the hospital that may not have taken place at connections, right? They may be reevaluated and their 302 may not be
then will be
held.
Right.
Or just due to the fact that people are being discharged from inpatient programs every day, it may take another 2 days and then they are placed, right? So we are talking, you know, with Annie and Andrea about that next step. So could we accommodate the 303 process and not transfer the patient at that 24 hours? And so we are working through what those next steps may look like from a process perspective, being able to meet the needs of the patient and less transfers, while also knowing that there is another level of documentation process, court, all of those things. So while I don't think that's going to be immediately implemented, we are open to looking at that next step to reduce those transfers.
That is a new step for you.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So we are still in the learning process with Annie and Robin and Andrea to talk about, like, tell us a little bit about what that next process looks like, so that we can determine, you know, what that would look like internally, and then move through discussions about process and implementation. I will say we met with one of the local hospitals, and they were thrilled to hear that we may be able to move forward with our county partners in possibly doing that, because it is an additional transfer for the patient, and then they are essentially boarding in the ED until a bed opens up. And if those things can take place with connections, you know, we're looking
Mhm.
to make that an option.
You know, and sometimes the boarding in the ED is a very significantly long time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No,
I don't think so.
I think that's a good start.
So I've enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah.
Berger, do you have anything?
Nothing specific, but Annie, did you want to, is there anything we're missing here that we should be?
Well, I think one of the things that we, from the Cumberland Prairie side of things, there's a concern, and actually it came up earlier this week in our criminal justice planning committee meeting, was a little bit of concern around call volume for the mobile team specifically. You know, if we're looking at the month of August data, specifically around the mobile teams, there were 90 calls for Dauphin County. And there was 36 for Cumberland. So two counties that are, you know, fairly comparably sized. And so that's a concern. And then I don't think there were any for Perry County, which that could be related just to call volume in Perry County.
So the Perry County volume is due to the fact that Perry doesn't have a process for
To
dispatch
dispatch us.
at this point. So they are working on launching an app for dispatching our mobile team. So right now, likely,
When you said they don't have a process
Yeah.
for dispatch,
no, they.
I went to
right.
a different place.
Oh, no, sorry. No, we're dispatching our mobile team. So likely the calls that you will see for Perry are from Pennsylvania State Police requesting us on scene.
Or 988. Or 988.
Or 988. I think most of the ones we've seen right now are PSP.
PSP.
Yeah. And then the call volume for Cumberland and Dauphin comparison, those are the calls, like we are dispatched through, like we respond to dispatches, right? And so we can certainly look at the missed opportunities, but the reason why the Dauphin calls look higher is because they just launched their dispatching system with us. So they just now are dispatching the volume for their county as they were not the past 10 months. So we launched that in August. So it was very comparable to Cumberland County until about August when they launched their app. I will say we are not seeing a significant amount of missed opportunities. While they do happen because we have two teams that cover 3 counties, we're not seeing a large amount of missed opportunities. So the numbers that are representative for Cumberland and Perry are the calls that we are essentially being dispatched on. So
You may want to also mention to the commissioners a little bit about some of the hiring barriers that you've had, specifically around the certified peers.
Yeah.
And the times that you're running one team, because, you know, that may also be impacting the ability to really successfully manage all 3 counties.
So there are times if we have a call off, we have had barriers to hiring recovery support specialists. So we have partnered with Dauphin County to help cover training, the certification training for our new hires. So we will be bringing on, I think, an additional 6 individuals to our mobile team. We were finding in the community difficult to find peers that were already certified, and the cost of the certification is expensive. I have not had the time to go through comparing the missed opportunities to running one team. But it does seem that we are able to meet the needs of the community, whether we are running one team or 2 with minimal missed opportunities.
And we can look at that data.
I would
Break
love
it
to see
down.
that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I would also like to see the data on, and I'm assuming that you have it, the data on when you get into the situation where you have someone in crisis that has a weapon, or there's a concern that there's a weapon, and how many times are you able to get to that person?
The calls for with safety concerns as far as weapons have been
Minimal.
very little. Like, I think
So
that
let me
looking at the
expand
data,
it
I'm
and
thinking
just
like,
use the term safety concerns.
sorry.
Like,
can you repeat?
yes,
Safety.
like not necessarily
safety
a weapon,
concerns.
but a
Okay,
safety
sure.
concern. I would love to see that also.
Okay.
Because, and, you know, when I have envisioned this particular project, you know, I've envisioned this being something that could be done even when there were safety concerns.
Sure.
But I don't want anyone to not be safe.
Sure.
I also don't
Sure.
want someone in crisis sitting in their
Correct.
home in danger. or
Absolutely.
other people in danger, so I'd like to see that also. please.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we can definitely look at that, and like I said, in Cumberland County, we have not had issues with law enforcement, so if there are safety concerns where we can loop in law enforcement, we have not had a time where law enforcement was like, we're not helping you.
That's
you know?
great.
So,
Yes,
yeah,
that's
so
great.
Yeah.
they have been very responsive.
Yeah.
Great.
Your officers are great.
That they are.
They really are.
The other thing that probably is important, we just briefly mentioned sustainability.
Okay,
Connections has a person who's specifically working around third-party contracts. And so that is really in the works at this point. So for now, we still have about $3 million left in the ARPA grant. The
Okay.
State Office of Mental Health has given us permission to spend that through the end of this fiscal year, so June 30th, 2026. And currently, Connections also receives what we call an alternative payment arrangement with Perform Care, our Medicaid managed care company. So it's a monthly payment to help offset the expenses. So between the ARPA grant and the Perform Care payments that they're receiving, they're doing fine. They're also invoicing Medicaid. And now as they build those contracts with other third-party payer sources, we look to see the revenue from other sources increase so that hopefully when the grant is expended, then, they'll be fully sustainable.
okay. And that's until June of 26,
Correct.
and $3 million.
That's what's left out of the 13, yes, actually 18, if you include the renovations.
Thanks.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Anyone have public comments online? Okay, anyone else in the room have anything? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I hope you come by.
I will. I will. Thanks. You may regret that. but-
Never.
So do we have any other business to come before the board? No? So we're looking for a motion to adjourn,
Move to adjourn.
and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Do you want to look at that?